The beginning of the year is very quickly approaching for me. We start school in just a couple weeks. So I know most of you guys are probably still on complete summer break mode. No shame in that if you are. I just know I start to get like the panicky back to school nightmares about this time. And so it helps me to start prepping things and getting things ready. And so if you are still in summer break mode, go enjoy. This video is not for you. This one is primarily for my new teachers who are coming into like second, third, fourth grade and don't really know what assessments to give at the beginning of the year. I know when I was a new teacher, I was completely freaking out because I was like, I know I need data, but I don't know what I need and I don't know how to gather it. And so I wanted to give new teachers a jumping off place. If you are a seasoned teacher and you have any other assessments that you use that you think would be good, that you have resources you can link down below, please, please, please feel free to include those. I'll link everything that I can down below, although some of it came from curriculum. I'm gonna flip you around and show you what I do. Okay, first up, my friends, is a fluency screener. So this one came from our Wonders curriculum. Obviously can't link that for you guys, but I feel like every curriculum should have one. If not, your district should have something that they use for some kind of running record. So what you're going to do is you are going to have this in front of the student. It just has the passage and then the comprehension questions. And you're going to make a copy of this sheet that has all of their scores at the bottom so that you can make notes on it. So as the students are reading, you're following along. They have 1 minute to complete as many words as they can. That will give you their words per minute. However, you don't want them to just read like super fast. Otherwise, when they get down to the comprehension questions, they're not going to have any idea what's going on. So what you are looking for is you are looking for, can they read in phrases, their pacing, syntax, self-correction, and intonation, as well as how many words they read versus how many errors, and that will give you the words correct per minute. And then I love that it has this little cheat code at the bottom to tell me how many they should be reading at each point in the year. And then these numbers on the side tell you how many words are going to be in the passage by the end of the line. So by the time you get here, you'll have 12. So say your student stopped reading after said. You would put a line after said. You would start at 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So then the words read would be 36. Any word that they misread, you're just going to put a line through. If they self-correct it after they read it wrong, then just erase the line and put SC over the top. And then I like to write what kids say if they say the word wrong, whether they self-correct it or not, although sometimes they're going fast, so I don't always have a chance to do that, but it helps me to see what they thought it was, but you don't have to do that part. So once they've read for 1 minute, the timer goes off. I have them read the rest of the article in their head silently. That way they can answer the comprehension questions. And then I just write down what they say. P.S. At the beginning of the year, I always make a little student list and then I print out a bunch of them. And I just have like a little tiny chunk that I like paper clip onto the top of things so that I can highlight or cross out students that I've already done. That way I can keep track. And then I have a little data binder that I will show you guys in another video because I haven't set it up yet for this year. But it's where I keep all of their data and organize it by trimester. That way I can see their progress if I need to go back or for report cards, parent conferences, anything like that. Okay, after I give my fluency screeners, I do a phonics screener on all students. Depending on how they scored on the fluency screener, I may start in task 1, which is just letter names and letter sounds, although by 3rd grade, they definitely should have that. That task is typically just for K1 students. But if a student scored so low on their fluency test, for example, if they got like 25 words or less for a whole minute, then I might do that just to make sure that they know all their letter sounds. Otherwise, for 3rd graders, you can skip down to task 2A. So students are going to have this sheet in front of them, and just like the fluency screener, you're going to have almost an identical one in front of you, except there's places for you to score them. So what you're going to do is you're going to have them start at task 2A and just have them read the words to you. These are going to be nonsense words in the task A part, and it's going to be real words in the task B part to see if they can apply the pattern rule, not just words that they already know. So for example, the first one should be wat, fod, leb, tum, to make sure that they can do that CVC pattern. If they get less than 80% in any combined task, so like all of task 2, then that means that that is their instructional level and that is where you pause. So you're not going to do the whole sheet. If they get down to task 4 and then they get less than 80%, at least 80% is what we did in my district, then that tells you that that means they need to be working on CVCC and CCVC words. So the ones that are underlined on their sheet are the ones that they are supposed to be getting in task B. So task B is going to be sentences for each one of these. So the words that are practicing that pattern are going to be underlined. those are what you are checking for. So just like on the Fluency Screener, say they're doing task A and they get WAT, but then they say, you know, food, then you would just cross out that one and then count up how many they got right, score that. I wish I could share this with you guys, but I can't. This was created by my district. But what we have is an instructional resource guide, which has different resources for each task. So for example, if your student is struggling with task 1 and you have them in a small group, then these are all of the different lessons that we have available to us through our resources for our district. So things like Wonders, iReady, we have things that we can click on and they link directly to the lessons that we can print out. What I did is I just made a whole resource book of all of these. So I just printed these all out and I will tab them and then keep track of which lesson I did with which group to make sure that I am tracking their progress appropriately. And then also, of course, not doing the same lesson over again. But since we're able to choose from different lessons, that helps me stay focused. The way it worked for us is once we did all of our beginning of the year assessments, we did small groups for 6 weeks with students that scored in like tasks. We would do 3 weeks of instruction. They had small group 2 times a week for 30 minutes each. We would redo the fluency test and the phonics screener at just that task that they were at to make sure that they are making progress. And then did it again at 6 weeks and then remade our groups. So then just to show you, there are links for every lesson and every task, which I think is super cool. If you're the kind of person who can just do online resources, that's awesome, but I need something like printed out in front of me that I can use. The next assessment that I do with my students is the Words Their Way spelling inventory. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna make a copy of this sheet for every student, and I do have this link down below. This is not part of a curriculum. This is part of a program called Words Their Way, and there's a ton of examples of it online, so you can just Google it and find it, but I do have it linked for you. And it's basically a spelling test to identify what spelling patterns your students are missing and where those instructional needs are for phonics. Very similar to the phonics screener, but this is just another example of something you can use. So basically what you're doing is you're giving them a spelling test based on these words, which has examples of all of the different spelling patterns that they are going to need to know. They're going to take it just on regular lined paper, and then you are going to go back and grade it. Once you have them all graded and you have one of these sheets for each student, you are going to take a highlighter and you're going to go through on each word and see which part of that word they missed. So whatever they did not get, you are going to highlight. If they got it, just leave it blank. So for example, on the first one, bed, if they have that initial B, leave it. If they have that final D, leave it. If they have the short vowel E, leave it. Say they spelled that with a double D, then you would highlight just the D at the end because that means that they are struggling with that final sound when we have a short vowel. Same thing, like if you got down to, let's see, what's one that doesn't have all of them? Spoil, number 11. So if you scroll over, you can see that each part of the word is put under a different spelling pattern. So for example, SP is a blend. So if they did not put SP, then you would highlight that one because that shows that they need help with blends. Go through, grade the whole thing, mark all of the words that they got wrong, and then you're gonna start tallying it up. So just in this category right down here, there should be 7 total sounds that they should have gotten. You're gonna count how many they got correct. So all of the ones that you didn't highlight, you're gonna count those up. So say you have 2 highlighted, then you'd put 5 out of 7 here. If they get more than 2 wrong out of any one category, so like this category, both of these patterns are in the same category. This one is just this category. This one's just this one. This one's just this one. So if they get more than 2 wrong in any category, you're gonna stop, and that is their instructional level. And if you go up to that top category, so say again you got like 3 out of 6 here, then that means that they need help with digraphs. So then you can make that small group for any students who need help with digraphs. I'm sure there's more to this, but that is just how I use it. This one is kind of complicated in my opinion and definitely takes the most time to grade. I'm gonna link a YouTube video down below too where a teacher is scoring this in case that didn't make sense and you are a visual person who needs to see someone actually doing it. I found a really good, I think it was only like 6 or 7 minutes, so you can see exactly how to use this. And then again, that link so that you can print this out for your students too is going to be down below. Okay, next up are the math assessments that I give. I just want to see exactly where my students are at with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division straight from the get-go. So each of these has a row, and each row has similar problems. So for example, this one is all single digit with no regrouping, single digit with regrouping, double digit with no regrouping, double digit with regrouping, and so forth. And so what you do is you give students this. I don't typically do it timed. I don't like time tests. I think it doesn't really matter how fast students can show you they can do something as long as they can do it, you know, within reason. So then when you're going to grade it, just like the phonics screener, you're going to take each row as a task. So if they get more than one wrong on each row, since there's only 5 problems, then I would say that's probably their instructional level. I like doing this too and having them show their work, especially when they get down to the double digit ones, so I can see exactly what mistakes they're making, and that helps me to really nip those mistakes in the bud really early. This is the one for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and then division. Not all of these are 3rd grade standards, so it shows me if they know more than they should, or, you know, should at this point. And that really helps me to do not only intervention, but also enrichment for students who already know something. These ones were not created by me or curriculum. They were given to me by an instructional coach that made them at my district. So I cannot share these, but if you want to pause the video so you can copy it, this would be super easy to make just on like a Google Doc by using a chart feature or like PowerPoint, something like that. And you can literally just copy the problems. And then the last thing that I do for data at the very beginning of the year is a class interest survey. So I got this on TPT for free from Hello Jen Jones. I will link it down below. You can grab it, print it. Also, it's super beautiful. Not that that matters, but it makes me happy looking at it. So I just put this on a clipboard. I put every student's name on the side. And then in the first week of school, when they're working on different activities, I will just go pull up a chair next to each student and just ask them, what kind of things do you like? What do you like to read? What sports do you play? What kind of things are you interested in? What kind of movies do you like? What do you do for fun? Anything that they want to tell me. And then I use this to help me pick out books for them. And then I also use it to help me plan different lessons. If I'm looking for something that I can pull into a lesson that will help me, you know, pique my students' interest, especially if I notice that a lot of them like similar things, then that just helps me to know what my kiddos are interested in. Alright friends, that is all that I have for you today. Again, if you are a seasoned teacher and you have something that you use at the beginning of the year that you could share down below, that would be awesome. That way we can all learn from each other in this community. Best of luck for new teachers, and really any teacher. I feel like we're all new teachers at this point with COVID. I feel like it's my first year all over again. That sounded super country. I don't know where that came from. Anyways, best of luck starting your school year. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your summer, and I will see you soon for another video.